Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Ausra.
Let's start episode 158 of Ask Vidas and Ausra podcast. And this question was sent by Steven. He writes, Good morning, Vidas. Thank you for posting the explanations, guidance and helpful suggestions in the Ask Vidas and Ausra series. I would also like to submit a question to the series, if I may. Organists today know to use articulate legato, so-called ordinary touch, in all the parts when performing early pre-19th century music, such as the fugues of Bach and other polyphonic pieces, and to employ legato and all of its associated techniques for all organ music written during or after the 19th century, unless otherwise specified by the composer. It's conceivable, though, that in the course of our studies we may run across a polyphonic piece such as a standalone organ fugue, written pretty much in 18th century common practice style by a modern composer, where the music is very busy and actually sounds in places like it could have been written in the last half of the 18th century by an acolyte of the Bach school, and the score has no indications about this touch. All we know is it was written in the 21st century. In this situation, how do we determine a starting place for the touch? Do we follow the rule that the date of composition in each and every case determines what kind of touch should be used and employ legato in all the parts as a starting place? Or should we take the polyphony of the piece into consideration and employ articulate legato from the beginning to keep all the moving parts clearly audible to the listener? I was wondering how you and Ausra may feel about this, whether the music's date of composition should be considered more important than its style when choosing a starting place for the touch. Thank you once again for all your help, aid and assistance. It's much appreciated. Steven. As I understand, Steven asks about the situation when a person creates a modern composition but written in the old style. Right, Ausra?
Yes, that's what I understood from this question.
And what should the touch be then? What's your opinion today?
Well, if it's written in Baroque style, let's say fugue in Baroque style, I would use ordinary touch. That's my opinion. What about you?
It's the same as improvisation, I would say. Whenever we improvise in the historical styles, we use the touch of those styles, even though it's improvised today in the 21st century, right? Somebody could even record this improvisation and transcribe it into musical notation and make it a finished, polished piece, and it would sound like more or less early composition, but created today.
Yes, because I think the style is more important than the date that the piece is written. Because nowadays, all those styles mix up together and you can create whatever you want. And if you feel that Baroque style is more, close to you, or you are more related to it, and you create compositions like this, then they definitely have to be performed in ordinary touch. That's my opinion, because otherwise it might just sound muddy and unclear.
I'm just trying to think of any recordings that I heard recently when improvisation was done in the old style by a living, of course, performer, but none come to mind, right? Because every good improviser knows the difference of touch in historical styles and tries to emulate that touch. Although in the past might have been some people who played Baroque style polyphonic pieces legato. But that's because everyone else was playing legato at the same time, Baroque pieces. Right, Ausra?
Yes. I think so, because just tendencies were like this in those days, but now everything changed, and we have talked about it in our earlier podcast.
Yeah. I just remember now one instance. I wrote 7 chorale improvisations very early in my career. I think just after graduating from UNL, and those were based on my real improvisations. I recorded them and transcribed them into musical notation, and then I thought maybe somebody could publish them, right? That was before the days of this blog, of course, because today I would have just posted on the internet to myself and send it to Wayne Leopold editions. And after a while I received an answer, very nice, polite answer, that it's wonderful that you are interested in submitting for possible publication. And those pieces could be considered in the style of Krebs, I would say, not Bach, but a student of Bach, let's say. So Wayne Leopold wrote that, however, nobody can really compete with Herr Bach, Master Bach, right? So he doesn't see or didn't see the point of publishing early sounding pieces today, where there are thousands of early original music written. So I stopped doing this, of course, on paper. Maybe on the instrument is another story when you improvise. What do you think about that, Osha?
Yes, actually, I think it's better probably to leave that early style for improvisation nowadays, instead of composing in that kind of style. But of course, we have free will to choose for ourselves.
Exactly. Let's say Bach would have thought the same and would have tried to imitate styles of early composers who came before him, and he did actually.
Yes.
But while doing that, he did this very creatively and combined several styles in one piece: Italian, German, and French.
And actually, yes, you can hear in his compositions and see and hear the early style, stile antico, so-called, and the Baroque, high Baroque style. That was his contemporary style, and then you can already get the tendencies of actually that period that came after Baroque and between the classical style.
Galant style.
Mm. That his sons used, when composing their compositions. So basically, Bach observed all those tendencies and used them in his compositions.
I would say today, if you want to be original, you have to combine several sources. The sources of inspiration, not one.
Yes, because so many things are already written and composed and said. So you probably just have to mix things together.
Exactly. Take one stylistic approach from one composer that you like, another from another school, right? Maybe if you like polyphony, you can keep that, but add a specific modal writing style that you like from the later schools, right? Something that is rarely combined, and that will make your music more unique.
Yes, it's like Paul Hindemith created Ludus Tonalis. And of course, I think the inspiration for him to compose it probably was well-tempered clavier.
Yes.
Or like Shostakovich also created preludes and fugues. But still, they had their own unique style. But of course, we know and we have studied Bach too. So that's the way how things should be done.
I think our final word of advice, besides articulating early style music, whether written or improvised today, should be, I think, be very open-minded and look broadly at your influences, right? And then you can mix things up, create in different order, and you don't know what will come out. Maybe the result will not be something that you like. Maybe that will be, another level of training that you do. But maybe the next step will lead something with more interest, right, Ausra?
Yes, because I think you need to mix the elements of, early and modern, even if you are creating in that early style. Because if you will just create in the early style, it will be like copying that style. And if you will not add anything new, then I don't know if it's worth of doing. What do you think?
In musical world today, there isn't much success with this, I think. I think only with improvisation, yes. But if it's a written piece, people will not be too impressed if you just imitate somebody's style, right? That's in music. But let's say in art, in visual art, if you imitate style of Dutch Renaissance or Baroque or something, if you can do this, people somehow will be very impressed and could pay a lot of money for just observing the pictures or photos of your paintings today. That's a very weird situation, right? To create something old-fashioned and people will be very happy. Because you see, people like to look at stuff that they could recognize, right?
Yes, that's true. But the things that are familiar to them.
That's why people keep drawing pictures of Superman and Batman and other superheroes, right? Characters. They are not inventing their own. Sometimes they do, but not always. They recreate them from the past movies, or let's say, or stories. Because their audience love to look at stuff or read stuff that is familiar, right?
Yes, that's true.
That's why we keep playing masterpieces of 17th, 18th and 19th century in the concerts of organ music, right? Instead of constantly creating something original 21st century style. Right, Ausra?
Yes, that's right.
We do sometimes create and incorporate, but not always. There are people who do exclusively unique stuff, but they're, I think, on the minority.
That's true. I think it's hard, to be always original.
Yes. So with that optimistic note, we could end this discussion, and we hope to get more of your questions and feedback. Please send us. We love helping you grow as an organist in various spheres of organ playing. Thank you, guys. This was Vidas.
And Ausra.
And remember, when you practice,
Miracles happen.